Well, every day is a unique experience here. I can honestly say that. I've been lucky that we've always been able to work on some, let's call mega projects. Projects where we were launching Studio City Casino, the Parisian Casino, Mercedes-Benz, brand new product launches. Well, and that's the challenge of Asia. Many, many micro markets put together. We look at Asia and we've got so many different.
Meet Darren, Chair of Brand Tech Asia and Managing Director of HK Initiatives, connecting people, stories and technology to shape the marketing future. He led brand transformations for global names like Mercedes and Google.
Well, in actuality, by 2030, 50% of the people requests coming into, let's say, your website or your platform are going to be from AI agents.
Welcome to another episode of the Leadership Circle, where we dive into bold ideas, real story, and future-forward thinking with the brightest mind in the business. Today, guest is someone who doesn't just talk about future of brands. He builds them. Darren is a managing director of the HK Initiative, a powerhouse of intersection of talent, technology, and immense storytelling. He's also a chairman of Brand Tech Asia, a regional platform bringing together creative technologies and brand to reimagine how we connect audience across Asia. From leading brand transformation at Uniplan Hong Kong to shaping strategies for the names like Google, Mercedes, and Hawaii, Darren's career is all about bridging creativity and commerce. Oh, and he's also picked up 60 plus international awards along the way. Let's unpack the magic behind it all. Darren, welcome to the show. Hi, Darren, and welcome to the Leadership Circle. How are you doing today?
Doing wonderful. It's nice to be back to business after a long Easter weekend. So rarer to go here.
Great. So, how was your Easter? I think that should be the first question.
It was
With
very
family.
relaxed. It was relaxing. In Hong Kong, we had 4-day holidays, so it was
Yes.
wonderful. Just to get caught up and relax a little bit.
Yeah, I think I've seen this culture in Singapore and in Hong Kong and most of the parts there where you have a long weekend culture. We club up 4 days and have that long holidays, unlike India, to be very honest.
Ah, True, it's true. You're in a culture, it's just go, 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 go 24/7. So it's nice to be able to shut off for a few days. And a lot
Yeah.
of people left for holidays as well. So it was very quiet in Hong Kong. Nice just to
So good
kick back.
work-life balance.
Yes. So we say.
Right. Darren, I have seen and I have read through all the amazing work that you do and you have been doing in your career. Could you just share us in detail like what has been your greatest experience in working in the markets like Hong Kong, Singapore, and the APAC?
Well, every day is a unique experience here. I can honestly say that you look back and I've been lucky that we've always been able to work on some, let's call mega projects. Projects where we were launching Studio City Casino, the Parisian Casino, Mercedes-Benz, brand new product launches. So it's really been in an exciting time. And then on the flip side of that, really been able to also focus a lot in the new technologies that we're seeing in Asia. Last 12 months has been AI. And previously to that, we were doing a lot of live broadcasting, green screen, visual effects. Kind of combining all of the pieces of my past 25 plus year career together on a day to day, week to week basis. And that's the exciting part out here is that so many of these unique jobs and projects are so different.
So, just adding on to this, I think you said you worked with Mercedes and you've been launching their new products in the region. Can you just share some case study or something? Can you just walk the audience through how these big projects are being delivered in the market, or how the marketing is being done differently for the Asia market as compared to the rest of the part of the world?
Well, it's the interesting part about this because it's when you're really looking at the brands, I think a big part of this is you have to start off with your customer. There's always, oh, we've got to do this marketing, we've got to do a product launch, we have to do this. But at the heart of it, you got to reverse everything. And there's this statement that everyone overuses, I think, which is know your customer, truly know your audience. And I think a lot of times these brands think they know what the audience is or what they expect, but they don't. And then they just say, oh, these are our these are the strategic elements we got to push on this brand or on this product and push
Okay.
that on. But why? But is how's that relevant to the audience? And I think the very first thing we come in, we always look at and start having these questions. Do you really know your audience? Because
Correct.
today we have platforms that really real time insight, other ones you really start to get to it. But you'd be funny and you walk in into this, people don't even ever say hello to their customer brand. They look at data. And I think that's the whole thing. Audience insight is the blueprint. And you
And it's a
begin
huge difference between the other part of the world and the Asia market when we talk about, crafting these things. I'm sure the audiences are very different, their choices are very different out here, and hence the marketing messaging has to be crafted very differently. Am I correct?
well, and that's the challenge of Asia, is that we're many, many micro markets put together. We look at Asia and we've got so many different cultures that we have to understand.
Right.
Even if you look at China, China has 30 different subcultures that you have to market to and understand before you can
Right.
even get that. Hong
Yeah.
Kong, similar, and you look at Thailand, they do fun, they do great joking, they have all of that, but there's different ways. So you really have to coming back to understanding what that audience is. Then you
Yes,
have to
absolutely.
understand your brand strategy. How does a global brand strategy now, how do we take that and localize it in different ways? Because remember, what we're trying to do is create,
A
as I was saying,
story.
no, before I even get to a story, that's next on that, but I was thinking that it's about creating layered experiences that personalize the experience to you. Meaning some want in person, some want snackable short type of content, others
Okay.
want large scale immersive events. So
Mm.
everyone has a different way they want to interact with the brand. And as part of that, we have to understand how to deliver different types of things to that different audience, right? And once
Right.
we understand this, we understand the brand strategy, then we put a story to this. How do we want to then create this story that's relevant, that's
Right.
emotional, and has these types of commitments? Because that's how we're building brand loyalty behind that, right? And
Right.
then
Exactly.
technology is just an enabler. Technology allows us to be the amplifier, and then we use this in the right way, right?
Yeah. So, Darren, you come from like almost 20, 30 plus years of experience, right? Before that, there was no tech, there was no AI, and everything used to be a lot of human driven, and everything used to be like, our brains there. So, how do you see a difference? What do you see the difference in marketing now and before?
Well, back then it was a lot about brand strategy. You
Correct.
hear the traditional advertisers going, "Oh, it's all about brand strategy. It's top of the funnel, and this is where it is." And now it seems we've been pushed down to the bottom of the funnel on performance marketing. Everything's about, oh, we've got to just directly do digital performance marketing, throw
Right.
out 1,000 dynamic content, whatever works. If it doesn't work, you can.
Right. So it's more like A/B testing scaled up to A to Z testing, and then we just pick up which is working and scaling on that. I think the testing has also helped us to navigate to customers or acquire customer very fast. Don't you think so?
Well, 100%. I mean, we've just gotten better tools. Let's say that. We never
Yeah.
had billboards. Did we ever really have ROI? That was part of brand strategy. If we didn't
Mhm.
have an ROI on it, we go, oh, it's just part of brand building. And 50% of our budget has to be in brand building. But in tough economic times, what's happening is, oh no, 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 you got to show an ROI on everything. And
ROI of this.
this is
Yes.
why programmatic and all these other types of new types of performance marketing are popping up because, oh, well, see, we can directly see exactly, follow that
Right.
to lead to the purchase.
Right, so
And
data driven has definitely helped us, right? When we have data backing up for everything, right? Then you can even understand and scale up quickly. That also, I would say, like, with all the past experience, like, even I come from an age where I used to talk, oh, ROI is all about brand building. And now is the age when we talk about, oh, ROI is all about how much money I'm returning you. Every dollar that you're spending, how much dollar are you getting back? So I think that's there, right?
yeah, I mean, I think we're in an interesting transformative period of time where a perfect example, we have what is a B2B business. They always go
Great.
B2B, how do B2B marketers differ than a B2C customer? And primarily that was B2C was much more humanistic. much more emotional, much more story driven. B2B was very technical, mm,
Boring.
20, 25 PowerPoint slides and graphs and charts and this service is that. And I think there's a big shift happening and say it's no longer B2B, it's B2H. And it's business to human.
Human.
So even in the B2B marketplace, what we're seeing is a big shift in saying, look, we have to treat them like humans. They're used to watching everything on TikTok nowadays. They're used to short form content. They don't want all of this horrible stuff that we gave them forced down their throats 20 years ago, right? And now create generative AI is allowing us to do this as well in ways that we're creating incredible PowerPoints, short form storytelling. And really, I see this big change in business to human marketing that's going to come out of it. And we've
Right.
seen like companies like HSBC, even in their B2B space, 50% of their marketing budget is actually going towards B2H. Let's call it the
Right.
branding
Right.
component of that.
Right, absolutely. I agree. And working with so many B2B brands, I think day in, day out, I just have to come up with new things, new strategy, how the customers, coming to them, interacting with the brand, building multiple touch points, and all of those things, I think is a key nowadays. So, with this, I also would like to, jump onto another question and ask you, if a brand comes to you today and said, we want to do a future proof customer experience, what's the first conversation you'll have with them?
Well, that's a good question because I don't know if there's anything that you can do that's really future proofed, but there's a lot of what I might say tools that you can use and
Can
processes
you
that you
name some? Can you name
putting
some?
in place. 100%. I think the first thing that you have to have is a customer journey map. You have to look at all of the touch points where your customers are coming into your system, whether it's offline, online, retail, this and there. And a
Mhm.
customer journey map helps you to figure out the friction points, and you go, oh my goodness, we have friction points in 10 places along our customer journey map here. So what's the worst, right? What do we have to fix? Let's pick two or three and start building these one by one that we want to start doing this. Because remember, what we're building is a system, not a campaign. We're
Right.
building a years and years and years of relationships with customers.
You're
So
right.
so there's not one type thing, but you got to realize this is long term. Get out of the short term mentality. Understand where the friction points are. Use technology first off to even figure out where are the touch points and the pain points. Let's call it right.
Right.
And it's shocking to me. Very few companies out here actually go through a customer journey mapping process
But
where
I
that
think that's the key,
help.
right? That's the first step, building your persona map, or that's the first step that I think any brand should be doing to before they, even start building their campaign content. I think the first step is to understand your customer persona building. That's what we also call it.
Yeah, and understanding your customers become very complicated now.
Right.
Years ago in advertising and marketing, it was much easier. We didn't have 25, 100 different channels. We didn't have them creating their own content. We did so now we have customers that want to interact with you. They want to co-create with you. So it's become the marketing mix has become so complex that this is where I think it's harder for a regular marketer going, oh, I'm
Right.
so
But do you
lost.
think for B2B also, let's just particularly talk about B2B here. Do you think we still have multiple channels, or we should just focus on like three or four channels? Let's say LinkedIn may become a main channel and then you have sub channel. And like for B2C, where your Instagram and YouTube becomes a main channel. What are your views on these?
Well, actually, I might kick in a question back to that question and saying perhaps what your product is not what's relevant for the marketplace at that time either. And I'll take you an example, like Business with Design Week. It was a global conference happening in Hong Kong every
Okay.
December. Then they had Knowledge of Design in June. And
Mm-hmm.
that's all it was. 2 conferences a year. People come. It was great. They loved it. They left, and that was it. We're like, but why do you not create something where you can connect the community all
Mm-hmm.
year long, 24/7, 365 days a year, where
Correct.
you take this content, you start building this into a platform, your
Mm-hmm.
own platform, which then you're able to grow and build this whole brand,
Mm-hmm.
BODW. And ultimately, we got them to create BODW Plus, which is a knowledge sharing platform that
Mhm.
then starts to connect all of this. We brought in TV, View TV, started
Mhm.
filming regular stuff. We had content articles. So now we went from an ROI of BODW of, let's say, 15,000 people a year to
Mhm.
last year, millions of people
Okay.
global. And that's kind of the idea of like, wow, look how we shifted this by having the right type of platform connected to our product and really helping out the community. Because now it
Mhm.
was all for them. It was a knowledge sharing platform for them. Uh,
Right. But do
to
you see a
really,
effect in then the walk-ins that were coming for the event? Did it increase? Did it reduce? What happened? Because now we have a strong community backed up.
I think it remains similar. And I
Okay.
think we went through, it's funny because we went through COVID times. So everyone was watching
Right.
online. And everybody said, oh, now nobody watches online.
But I think
Uh,
community helping worked during the COVID times also, right?
well,
Like we
uh,
were
that was
going
that
online.
I think that was that allowed us to accelerate that change,
Right.
and
I
try
think
new
just
things.
adding example of Nas Daily, I think you've been watching Nas Daily. He has built a great community, and all the events, everything gets shifted online. You can launch everything online. All the small creator community that came in, I think during COVID and after COVID has this got a boom everywhere. So I think a lot of changes has happened when you talk about community building also.
Yeah, and I think the difference is it's a different generation that we're dealing with now, right?
Right.
And they have tools that they can create content. And with all these new tools, their content's pretty good. And some of the AI content they're going to be putting out there is great. So brands now are forced into a new position that says, look, within 12 months, there's gonna be such a glut. We used to joke about the data swamp. There's so much data coming in now. We don't know what we
How
can
to
do with
manage
it.
it.
Help me, we're drowning. There's data coming in everywhere. Now it's gonna be content. We're gonna be swarmed with we're seeing this in all
So
the
that's how Web 2.0 and now 3.0 is, taking up.
well, and ultimately what's gonna happen is back to that original question is like how many platforms you're gonna need. Well, in actuality, by 2030 50% of the people requests coming into, let's say, your website or your platform are going to be from AI agents. So
Agreed.
now I'm going to have my AI agent going out, talking amongst all these other ones. So 50% of your audience coming is going to be an AI agent searching for,
Agents.
for another AI agent of another. So AI agentic stuff is really going to shift our entire world dramatically here. And so this gonna force the brands back into going, still, what does our customer need? How do we get it to them? Technology is an afterthought, right? We're
It
offering this. This is the best way we can get it to them, or maybe there's new ways we can get it to them. Now, what technology do we wrap around that, right? And
definitely.
that's all you can do is you
So
start.
let's all start building AI agents and start launching them.
Well, you remember we started going, how do you stay relevant in today's marketplace? And it comes back to curiosity, right? Where I
Mm.
said, I had this person that was at a large global agency, and they were like, "Yes, we have our own AI system in place, and we come in and we work for that." And I said, "Look, you as a person, you as an individual leader should be doing at home at night, on weekends, exploring all the other alternatives, exploring DeepSeek, exploring Poe, trying your personal projects, because you have to become a leader using this, and you can't do it through your own business, because you may not be there tomorrow. You may be redundant in 6 months, which is happening so
Right.
much, right? So I think everyone has to start taking their own challenges and trying these technologies out on their own time, learning and doing that, and then that will make you so much better in what you do today and prepare you for tomorrow.
Right. So I think this particular line should be seen or checked by a lot of marketing, juniors who are coming in the market, college going people. Like you need to learn the latest technology happening to make yourself relevant. At the same time, to a lot of people who are there doing marketing day in day out as their job, I think they also need to learn new technologies to stay relevant in the job also. Because I think soon the jobs are gonna shift at every role that we're going to hire, we're going to add in like we need you, as in you need to know the AI skills to come into the company. So I think that's going to be there
Well,
soon, right?
the thing is, it's not just about technology. It's about culture. And you also have to understand what's happening out in the culture. Like so many people, like they go to work, they do their job, do it well, they leave, they go home. They're not out exploring things on the weekend or trying new things and understanding this. As a marketer, you really have to be at the pulse of culture. What's
Correct.
happening, whether that's Hong Kong, whether that's Thailand, whether that's that. And you can't read about that. These are things that you have to get out, experience, see for yourself. And then you're going, "Oh, how this all comes back to then this marketing initiative that we're trying to
Right.
accomplish here."
I can't agree enough because I have a life story which I can connect to this. So I used to be like just a starting marketer in country like India, just trying to understand how marketing works in India. Then I got opportunity to work in Singapore. I learned how the Singapore culture works. Then I go to Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam. I have traveled across Asia and across Europe to understand what's the difference in the communication that we can bring along. And if I don't go to the roots, I'll not be able to understand, oh, what is the pain point of that particular customer. I think I learned a lot when I travel, and I think rightly said, as you go and you travel and you learn, that's how you become a good marketer. So that's
Yeah.
there.
I mean, and really, the more that you do that, you're gonna just be well-rounded. But even in your
Right.
own city, let's even if I'm not even moving out of here, I just take Hong Kong. Every week in Hong Kong, there's probably 10 or 20 amazing different types of cultural types of events happening, from art to technology to this. And they're not even charging you a lot of money like you might have to pay
Yes,
in the
there are a lot of free
US
entries also.
or some of these other ones. And practically most of them are for free. And you really get out there and you look around and you're like going, wow, look at that. Aha. And this is where it just starts to ignite things in your own mind rather than, during COVID, I remember everyone was just in front of their computer on
Mm.
their screen. You get out, you go,
I can breathe.
experience the world. And ultimately, you'll find a lot of these things start clicking in that make you a
Right.
much better marketer. And because you're understanding the audience and the brands way better.
So, Darren, you won multiple hats like chairman, managing director, board member, creator. How do you stay creative, energized, doing so many things across? Like, what is the key thing that helps you? Like, I want to still go ahead in the market. I still want to hit these things. So, how do you manage yourself?
Ah, it's not easy. And
Looking at your energy also today, also I can say it's not easy.
it's probably creativity is one of the most disruptive forces in the universe. And I've been around the most creative people, James Cameron, doing incredible movies from Hollywood to through some of the best advertising pitches in the world. And there's battles and everybody's fighting and everyone's in that because they're emotional about it. They're doing, and it's not a. But then when you get it, you're like, ah, that's it. That's a aha moment that keeps you alive for tomorrow, right? And when I think about it, why I wanted to get into creativity versus all these other ones was, I had an offer at IBM out of college, great sitting at the desk, being an engineer, whatever it was. It just was a factory mindset. And to me, my mindset was always about a growth mindset where I would say, I want to experience something new constantly. If I'm not learning something new every day, then that wasn't a successful day.
Hmm.
And that's how you stay creative because, no matter what it is, whether it's AI, oh, what's happening here? Where I go walk out on the street and play with some kids, help out a kids foundation or do this. I'm growing in multiple ways, and that's how I stay fresh through a lot of tribulations. It's not all great, right?
Right.
Hong Kong, we've been through a lot of heartaches and ups and downs and COVID and everything. But it's that type of mindset that really drives it home and keeps you, going strong for another day and keeps the creative side of the mind open as well.
So Hong Kong is a very, very small market, to be very honest, right? But it is a gateway to a lot of other China market and all other places, right? If I'm a US citizen or a Europe citizen, the first thing that I will look is either enter through Singapore or enter through Hong Kong first, and then navigate to the rest of the markets in Asia. right? What makes Hong Kong so special?
I to me to me, Hong Kong, I mean, they say it's Asia's world city, and as much as I don't agree with the tourism component of that slogan, it really is. It brings together so many cultures in a harmonious way that you don't get in other places, and and this is where during COVID, I felt we were the international city. People came from everywhere: China, the U.S., Europe, South
Right.
America, and somehow we all got along. It was all interconnected. It was really the quality that you could say this is how a city should be in an interconnected world. Uh, Through COVID, we lost a lot of that. A lot of people moved, and then I feel we're just starting to get that back. Versus Singapore's got the similar type of scenario, but
Mhm.
in Hong Kong, we've got so much more to offer. Like, we got mountains, we've got hiking, we've got, beaches, we have, incredible, different types of international food, this, that. So we really have the world of everything to offer as a city. And I think that's what makes it unique. And it's the local culture that I don't want to see go away. It's that local culture that you go, how do we keep that? How do we build
Right.
it? We don't want to gentrify it, with these big developers coming in, building massive
Agree.
buildings. It's like, how do we still maintain
Culture.
that hardware shop next to the noodle shop, next to the
I so agree with that, Darren. I've been to Hong Kong. I see the immense culture, and I think the people are there from all walks of life. Like, you'll see a lot of people coming in because it's a finance hub. Also, a lot of people, a lot of other culture, a lot of other country people are also coming in and staying in Hong Kong. So I think that's a really great point. So, Darren, one last question before we end this, and that is to the junior you. So, one thing that you would like to do that you have not done, and you want to tell yourself when you were 18, that this is what I wanted to achieve, and this is what I want the next generation to focus on as a marketer.
wow, that's a really hard one. And I was thinking about that question the other day too. I mean, I think, I guess to myself, what I would have said is follow your heart a little bit more, and but follow through on things, even though there's going to be challenging times where you think, ah, I'm done here, or this is that, I'm throw up my arms and move forward. As like, remember where you really want when it started, what made you happy at the heart
Right.
of it. And I think that was it is, I have one of my other jobs I was in, it was a great job, but was I happy? It was, I knew inside it wasn't right. But yeah,
Right.
oh, it's a paycheck, it's this and that. But that did not do me well in the long run. That did not do me well in that. It's the same as clients, we always say about, oh, I built an agency from when I started, maybe 30 people to 120 people. But when bad economic times hit, then it was like, you know what? Pick your clients. The same way that I say yourself, pick the right clients, because the bad clients can destroy a company. So one bad weed will absolutely turn into a forest of weeds in a short term.
I can't agree more.
And that goes for clients, friends that you bring around, or people you have in your company. One bad weed can just cause a lot of difference, and that's what I would have told myself: is watch out for that weed. Make sure that those negative weeds are plucked out from whatever, and
Right.
the positive ones going strong, and you'll be twice as successful.
I so agree, and thank you so much for saying that. I think it is the people that you work with, the way you build the not even just the client side, the employee side, and the way you do the culture, especially in an agency, because an agency world is very different from the other world. I think agency is very fast paced. Every day new challenges keep coming in. Every client is very different, and hence I think it is very important to make sure we are culturally intact, and we just value what we bring in to our customers and to our employees both ways. So thank you, Darren, for sharing that vision today. And I really look forward for talking more about with you and taking this to episode 2 and 3 also. So thank you for today.
Hey, well, thank you very much. Appreciate it, and good luck, everybody.